Did they actually fix the biggest issue with this sneaker? Last year, Adidas finally launched Fear of God Athletics, nearly 3 years after signing Jerry Lorenzo to the brand. The first sneaker to drop was the Fear of God Athletics 1, a shoe that the sneaker community seemed to like from a looks perspective, but it ultimately fell short due to other factors such as the comfort and the price. Well, we now finally have the second iteration of this shoe, and this time it released both in a high top and low top version, and in this video I will be reviewing the Adidas Fear of God Athletics Basketball 2 High and Low. Very quickly, if this is your first time on the channel, my name is Josh. I do sneaker reviews and all types of other sneaker content, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if that's what you're looking for. Give me a follow on Instagram as well if you want to keep up with me on the daily. I'm posting every single day on my stories. Getting into the shoes, now both of these shoes were pretty easy to get. They were sitting on the Fear of God website, and also right now on the Adidas Confirmed app, you can get both of these shoes in a full size run, no problem. I also heard that in the US, these did release around Black Friday weekend, and on Cyber Monday, Adidas actually included both of these shoes as part of the 40% off promotion. So a lot of you guys managed to get these on release day pretty much for 40% off. And if you managed to do that, well, congratulations, because for these shoes, that is a steal. This is the original colorway I have right here. It's called Night Brown, but we have seen pictures of some upcoming colorways as well. There's going to be a gray version dropping, and I don't know exactly when these will drop, but we seem to be also having a white colorway on the way, and those look super clean. And the retail prices, well, the retail prices were a bit surprising on these shoes because they were a lot lower than the original. The original did retail for $250, but these ones, the low top went for $180 and the highs for $200. So that is significantly cheaper than the originals, which is great because the common complaint about the original shoe was just how expensive it was. So it's great that Fear of God actually addressed that issue. So Jerry Lorenzo, the founder of this brand, he actually called this shoe right here, the Athletics 2, the first uncompromised basketball shoe that Adidas and Fear of God have made together. He acknowledged that the first pair did fall short of that goal. That shoe never saw the court. We didn't see any NBA players wearing it, but that doesn't seem to be the case this time around. We've had some NBA players wearing these quite regularly actually, and by some I mean Gabe Vincent from the Los Angeles Lakers. He seems to be a huge fan of these, but it's still early. I'm sure given some time we'll see some other players wearing these too. Oh, by the way, this is not a performance review type of video, so I'm sorry if that's what you're looking for. I'm strictly going to be talking about this shoe from a lifestyle point of view. So one thing's for sure, on first impression, just from a looks point of view, it definitely looks like a Fear of God shoe. You got that very recognizable shape, that very streamlined silhouette that Jerry Lorenzo is now pretty famous for, I would say, with all his sneakers. And you also got that very recognizable Fear of God midsole, that chunky translucent midsole, which is pretty common on most of their shoes. So from that aspect, I would say Jerry is quite successful because he's made a very recognizable Fear of God shoe, which is now actually being used by professional basketball players. So you can kind of say that his vision is coming to life. I was wondering why the prices on these were way lower than the first. So actually, let's start off by looking at the box because that's where you notice a very big difference. The box this time, well, first of all, it is a lot smaller than the previous box, and it just feels like they went a little bit cheaper this time on the box. The Adidas logo this time is just printed on the top, whereas if you remember the previous one, you could actually feel the logo. It had like some rubber strips on there, but honestly, who cares? It's a box. If you're going to be giving us a cheaper feeling box but at the same time really reduce the price of the shoe, then I don't think people are complaining too much. And the shoes, well, definitely version 2 has some significant differences from version 1. For me, the most notable difference is the toe box. The previous shoe had that very big toe cap, but this time you don't get that. You get a much more, I would say, cohesive looking shoe. This is just my opinion. I do much prefer the toe box the way it looks on this shoe compared to the originals. While I did like the overall look of that shoe, I just thought that the attention was drawn too much to the toe box. It took away from the rest of the shoe. What is very different with this pair is that you don't get that TPU cage which formed the Adidas 3 stripes on the previous pair. They got rid of that TPU cage completely, and instead you have a very different, very unique three stripes branding this time, which seems like it's taking its inspiration directly from the Adidas Sobakov. And personally, I like it. I think it's one of the coolest looking Adidas brandings we've seen on one of their shoes. Some of you might say that this new look is very clean, while others will say it's quite boring compared to the first, and honestly, you both might be correct. I do like it, but I will say I did prefer how the first ones look on the back half of the shoe. Moving on to the heel, so you have here one very notable difference. You got this random kind of pod here with the Adidas logo on there, and it's just like a rubber pod, a bulbous pod here, which doesn't seem to have any kind of functional purpose. It's just there for aesthetics, and you have the Fear of God logo there on the outsole. I don't like this personally. I think it's a bit of an eyesore. Thankfully, it's on the back of the shoe, so it's weird. It's like this shoe, I think that the front half looks better than the Fear of God ones, but the back half, I feel like the back half looks worse this time. Do let me know what you guys think in the comments. Just tell me from a looks point of view, how do you guys feel about the Fear of God Athletics 2 compared to the ones? And the material on this upper, well, most of it seems to be made out of a knit material, and the rest of it, like on the mud guard and also on this back panel of the shoe, I'm not exactly sure what this material is. It kind of feels like felt. The laces this time, you get these standard rope style laces, and they don't come with a lace toggle like the previous ones did. You got to tie them up like you would tie any normal shoe. And the tongue on the sneaker, so it seems to have a booty like construction. It is very stretchy, it's very bendable, and it seems to be made out of this knit material. And looking at the outsole on this pair, so that's another difference on this shoe. The previous pair featured a herringbone outsole, and this time I don't know what exactly to call this pattern. Let's call it like ripples on a pond, or like a seismic type of pattern. I think it looks better, but for those of you who are actually going to play basketball in the sneaker, you guys will probably know better than me whether or not this traction is better than the first one. So far in this video, I haven't talked much about the differences between the low top version and the high top, and that's because honestly, there's barely any difference. I would say about 90% of these two shoes are the same. When I put them side by side here, you can just see how much bigger the high top version is compared to the lows. I would say roughly speaking, it's about 2 inches higher, and the highs also come with this additional Velcro strap that you put through this loop here and wrap it around your ankle, and it gives you that locked in feeling, the lockdown feeling. I know a lot of you guys who do play ball prefer the higher top sneakers, mainly because it gives you much more ankle support, so you guys will probably be going for the highs instead. But now let's get into what was the biggest issue with the previous sneaker, which was the sizing. I haven't seen one sneaker review that said anything good about how those shoes fit on feet, and I tried them on myself. They were very tight and also had a ton of heel slippage, so it kind of made no sense. They were extremely narrow, I thought, in the midfoot region. Honestly, in terms of fit, I thought that was one of the worst fitting shoes I've tried on over the last year. But thankfully with these, it seems like Adidas and Fear of God were listening to all the people complaining about this, because they seem to have definitely fixed that issue. So I got these in a half size up because I figured it is a Fear of God shoe after all, and they honestly fit perfectly. The shoes feel like they were already broken into. I know people said that with the previous pair, if you wore them quite a lot, they would eventually break in and get quite comfortable. Well, with this pair, you don't have to wait at all. They're already broken in and they feel great on first wear. And that goes, by the way, with both the high top and the low top. Like I said, everything about these two shoes are pretty much exactly the same except for that strap at the top, including the sizing and fit. The ankle strap also addresses another huge issue that the first pair had, which is that you couldn't really possibly use that shoe for basketball reasons because of the amount of heel slippage. It made the shoe feel very unstable on feet. But with the ankle strap, you can tighten it and give yourself quite a lockdown feeling on feet. It's very clear that with the sizing, with the ankle strap, that Adidas were definitely listening to their consumers when they came out with this version 2. So great job with Adidas fixing the sizing. So for most of you guys watching this video, I think definitely going a half size up is going to be the best size for you. Even if you have wide feet, I think you could fit perfectly going a half size up. And the cushioning on the shoe is very soft and comfortable, so I think these shoes definitely look great on feet and they work really well for lifestyle purposes as well. Overall, in my opinion, I actually do think this is an upgrade over the first pair. The sizing and comfort are a lot better. From a looks point of view, it's arguably arguable. You might think the first one looks better or the second one, but I don't think it's drastically different because you still have that very recognizable fear of God look. Personally, from a looks point of view, I do think the highs look better, and I think that they're the better option overall because you can play basketball in these. They'll have that nice tight feeling that you want, while at the same time, if you just wear some like wider fitting pants like I wore in the on feet portion of this video, you really can't tell on feet whether or not you're wearing the highs or the lows. They kind of look the same. But do let me know in the comments, what do you guys think overall about the Fear of God Athletics Basketball 2? Are you going to be copying a pair? Will you be waiting for some of the newer colorways? The one thought I had though about what Jerry Lorenzo said about this shoe that I can't really get over is how he pretty much admitted that he himself didn't like the first version, and then he pretty much said that these were closer to his vision but not there yet. We have to wait for that version 3. So I'm thinking he must have been under quite a bit of pressure from Adidas to release 2 sneakers that he wasn't even all the way feeling. But at least we're getting there. These seem to be a step in the right direction. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you found this video useful, and of course follow me on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and for supporting my channel. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.